Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today's video we're checking out what if Iran formed an empire. Now, they did have an empire before called the Persian Empire. If I look that up, Google. Persian Empire. Wait, no. Persian Empire. Yeah. The Persian Empire was like all of this. It had all of Iran. It went up into Central Asia, up into the Balkans, into the Caucasus, all the way into Africa. It had all of Cyprus. So yeah, it had a lot. By Cyrus the Great. Cyrus the Great. So, yeah, this is the first ever empire the Iranians had. But now, they will be forming a different one. This time it's not going to go all the way into Africa. It's going to stay in Europe, Asia. So the first thing they do will be invading one of their neighbors. That being Iraq. Now, they did have a war with Iraq, which the U.S. actually helped Iraq, I think. I think it was called the Gulf War, right? Hold on. Iraq War. What was it called? Oh, it was just it was an armed conflict where a brutal 8-year conflict in the 1980s between Iran and Iraq, fueled by territorial disputes, political, religious differences, and brutal ambitions. The war resulted in a stalemate with devastating casualties and lasting consequences for both nations. Yeah, did the U.S. intervene or something? So I'm not sure. So is that how the border is right now? Oh, they did support them. So they did support Iraq. But not this time because U.S. is all the way over in North America. So they're going to be invading. Iran is going to invade Iraq. And they'll move around their terrain. Let me just look at their terrain. Iraqi terrain. Iraq terrain map. Just gotta look at their terrain. Like, is there mountains? There is one mountain in this region. It's kind of in the north, like over here, near their border, but do I care about mountains? No. So, they'll be invading all of this area. And they're gonna... Baghdad is actually... Where is Baghdad? Yeah, it's actually in this bit of the center, but they're just gonna go around their border and just invade it. Another is gonna go around and just invade and probably just kill a bunch of people because that's how they do it. But there will be a slight pushback by Iraq. Like, they'll manage to, push them back to their border over here. But initially, they'll just get pushed all the way and they'll just get obliterated. And Baghdad is captured, too. And let's take a look at the peace treaty. In the peace treaty, we see full annexation. Now, this was in the Persian Empire, so that is, this is old historical Persian lands. This is Mesopotamia, so But they did just get all of Iraq. But there's this one little country right here who will be quickly invaded and annexed. Kuwait will be just fully annexed after getting invaded because they really didn't have much of a military. I don't think they have much of a military anyway. Not entirely sure, but So if I look at the Persian Empire, they did have all of Kuwait. If I can use this image, yeah, they did have all of Kuwait. They did get almost all of Iraq. I think they didn't get all of it. I think it wasn't all of it, but they had initially all of a bit of Iraq. They had all of the Caucasus countries. They actually did have all of the Anatolian Peninsula. They did get all the way into Egypt. Kind of went all the way into where Pakistan is. They went up to the Aral Sea. They went right up to the Aral Sea, which, yeah. They did have a majority of the Caucasus. They did have all the Caucasus. They went into Turkey, Greece, and almost all. They did go into Bulgaria too. I think they almost went into Romania. I'm pretty sure they did have Israel and Palestine under their control. Mesopotamia, yeah. So yeah, let's just see what they do next. Well, there's some other countries that they couldn't invade. Like Syria, which, yeah. They'll just fully invade Syria and take Damascus. And the country will just initially just fall over to Iran. And in the peace treaty, we see full annexation by Iran. They're probably just going to claim old lands of the Persian Empire, but not all of the old lands, because they would have to go all the way into Europe and Africa, which they won't be doing. But they do have all of Syria under their control now. Who will they go after next? Well, they will be going after Lebanon, Israel, and Palestine. And even Jordan, just to secure some more land against Saudi Arabia. And all those countries will be all invaded, and initially they'll be fully annexed into Iran. So both Israel and Palestine will be under Iranian control, or Persian control if you want to call it Persia. So they reached the Mediterranean fully. Which they already reached the Mediterranean by invading Syria, but they just wanted more. So I'm gonna have to do all of this. So now who will they go after next? Well, they do hate Turkey and they do hate Azerbaijan, but actually they're just gonna invade Azerbaijan and Armenia too. So they'll begin their invasion of Azerbaijan and invade their capital, which will force Azerbaijan to surrender. And then they enter Georgia, which I didn't say they were going to invade Georgia, but I lied. They're going to invade Georgia. And even Armenia, and now they're going to push into Turkey, Turkish lands, taking this region on their border. Well, Turkey will make an invasion into Syria to hopefully expand. But this will be pushed back And now Iran is going to fully invade into Turkey, with also while invading Cyprus, which will anger the Greeks too, and the British also. But they will also take Ankara, which is right around here, because, yeah. And we will see all this area fall over. We can now look at a peace treaty. Alright, so in the peace treaty, we actually see Iraq fully annexing all of the Caucasus countries, so that being Georgia, Azerbaijan, and Armenia. I said Georgia, by the way. Georgia. And then they will annex all of Cyprus, so we can go ahead and do that. I said we could go ahead and do that. And then they will annex a large portion of Turkish lands, which will leave Turkey kind of crippled because they don't have much of their land. So we see them actually. So we can go ahead and draw up the border here. So I think it's kind of like right over here and over to here. So like that. So now we see that Iran will be taking all of this land. Well, not that land. But they will be taking all of this. So they actually get all of the Caucasus countries. Which will be pretty bad for the world, because now they kind of have all of their Persian lands over here. But they still have more countries to target. Which is going to be Saudi Arabia, because they did have some land there, I'm pretty sure. If I look at the map, yeah, I think they did have some land. Well, actually they didn't, because they didn't go into the Syrian desert. They didn't go all the way into Arabia, but in this video, they're going to go into Saudi Arabia and take some land, which they will be thunder invasion into Saudi Arabia, which will go pretty well. Which they're actually going to take a whole bunch of land before Saudi Arabia sues for peace. And we can look at that peace treaty. Which the peace treaty we'll look at the peace treaty where Iran actually annexes a whole bunch of land from Saudi Arabia, which will look something like that, I think. So they annexed a whole bunch of territories. And they're going to be done in the Middle East. They're done in the Middle East. Which they're going to pressure Egypt and giving them the Sinai Peninsula. Which they will be forced to give it to them. So they annex all of the Sinai Peninsula. But Egypt is still independent, so Egypt still exists. They just don't have land in Asia anymore. But now, what do we do? What should they do next? Well, they still have war targets. So they kind of want to go into India and Afghanistan and all back up to Central Asia. So they'll be going after Pakistan, which they will make their invasion. India sees that and they're like, we gotta help them. So India will send troops over to Iran and pushes them back with the Pakistani forces. What India didn't realize is that Iran is too strong and they'll begin to push more and more into Pakistan, reaching the border of India, and India declares martial law. And everyone is panicking inside of India. All 1.46 billion people start panicking, and without the help of India, Pakistan will just fall over to Iran, and in their peace treaty, Iran will fully annex Pakistan, which now they're in the Indian subcontinent. With all of Pakistan falling over, now they will begin their invasion of Afghanistan, which will go pretty well, because they actually will manage to take all of Afghanistan's country, which I'll just show you here in a second, because I just gotta do all this. And there we go. Let's take a look at that peace treaty. And in the peace treaty, we see full annexation again. They're not stopping until they get some of their old land back that they had during ancient times. And a bit more land. So we see full annexation of Afghanistan, and the world is like, this is not good, so the US will be like on alert about this new superpower that's popping up. Yes, they're rising in the ranks. They have a bunch of that land now. They have a bunch of land. They could probably go after India now. Which is exactly what they do with the population panicking and the government is not working. Iran will begin their invasion of India with the intent of having some more land. because Kashmir is very disputed, but they're gonna take it anyway. Which India cannot fight back because their population is panicking. Which the population is gonna be shot because they're already in the crossfire of the military. And this little part of India will go ahead and fall. So we see. Okay, thank you. So we can look at the peace treaty of New Delhi. So in the Treaty of New Delhi, we see that Iran will just annex all of this Kashmir region. And also, like this little area right here. But they're actually not going to only capture Kashmir, they're going to capture the land that they invaded. Which they take a whole bunch of land here. So we can go ahead and look at that. So I'm just going to go ahead and just say do this, and boom. So India be fully panicked. Will have full panic mode on because they don't know if Iran will try and invade them again, but we won't be invading them again because they only wanted this area. They only wanted this area of India because they just want more land. But now they're going to go up into Turkmenistan, which will anger the Turks a bit. But they're going to be able to take this land over and take over a large amount of land from them. By a large amount, I mean all of the country. Which I recently just did Turkmenistan's empire, so I know they're a dictatorship. I already know about that. But initially, Turkmenistan be fully annexed into Iran, which they're not stopping just yet. They're still looking to expand. They have lots of land. This might be the biggest empire yet so far. So let me just go over in Turkmenistan real quick. And there we go. This empire has a large amount of land so far. But they're gonna stop as soon as they enter into Kazakhstan and declare that they're done with their empire. But first, they're going to invade all of these areas in over here by first targeting Tajikistan and then going into Kyrgyzstan and a bit into Uzbekistan. Which they will fully get all of Kyrgyzstan. And now they're invading into Uzbekistan, including from this side over here. Where they will actually just manage to take all of this land right here. And then all of Uzbekistan will fall into Iran's hands. So we can go ahead and look at that peace treaty. And in the treaty, we see full annexation of all three countries. So we can just go ahead and delete this these borders over here. And now they have one last target, that being Kazakhstan. But first, I'm gonna actually color in all these areas of these countries here. And now they began their invasion of Kazakhstan, which they're gonna go over. I think the Aral Sea is kind of like smaller now. Hold on. Aral Sea. Let me look at it. Yeah, it's actually vanishing right now. It's actually getting smaller as you can see here. So they're probably just gonna get closer to the Aral Sea, which I'm pretty sure is just right here because it's not even shown on this map, but it's there. But they're gonna invade all of this area over here. And initially, they'll just get all what they want, everything they want. You go ahead and take a look at the treaty, and we'll see the final borders happening. So, like I said, they're only going towards the Aral Sea. If they kind of already are in. We're going to take a large portion of Kazakhstan, except for their capital region. So I can go ahead and just show you. I think it's going to begin right here, and I think like it's going to go right here. I'm not very good at drawing borders, guys. But Kazakhstan is going to just cede over to China, which I'll just show in the treaty because they can't survive on their own, so they're just going to get annexed by China into Xinjiang. Which means China had kind of expanded, but they didn't do it by themselves. They just had to. Kazakhstan just opted to join them because of this growing threat of Iran, or better known as Persia. As we see, all of this is now the Persian Empire. The Neo-Persian Empire. Now I'm just gonna get this here. I'm just gonna do a bit of that. A bit of this, a bit of this. But first I'm actually gonna do what this looks like. So I'm gonna do the ethnic layer. So we have to do the Arabs, or the countries they took over back, basically. So we have the Arabs, we have the Egyptians, we have the Jordanese, whatever they're called. We have the Palestinians. The Israelis. the Lebanese, the Cypriots, over here. We have the Kuwaitis. I don't know what they are called. We have the Iraqis over in Iraq, which actually just takes up all of Iraq, by the way. We have the Syrians. We have the Turks. We have the Turkish people in Turkey. The Turkish region of Iran. We have the Georgians. We have the Azerbaijanis. We have the Armenians. This layer is going to be pretty big. We have the Pakistanis. We have the Indians. We have the Afghanis in Afghanistan. Wow, this video is going to be pretty long. We have the Turkmenis, I don't know what they're called in this. We have the Uzbekistanis, Turkmenistanis, Uzbekistanis. we're gonna have the Tajik people. Oh wait, hold on. Let me just. We have the Kyrgyz people. We have the Kazakh people. And there we go. Alright, now let's just begin. So let's just do that. Now that's just gonna be there. So we're actually gonna start off. What's up, Cyprus? Hello? Oh. What? And now let's begin right here. Boom, 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 boom. Alright. Over here. Alright, I'm just gonna go quick. Because I don't want to, like, lose the recording. Again. Just gonna have to go pretty quick. Alright, just gotta go quickly. Okay. Alright. Alright. Almost done. Alright. Almost done, guys. Okay, we're almost done. And done. Boom, boom, boom. Yes. Alright, here we go. Boom. Alright, hopefully this works. Alright. Right, see? Boom. Watch as this disappears. Alright, I just gotta do it one by one. Jeez. Let's go already. Oh my god, bro. Got color in the rest. Actually, I can just do this. Let's find the rest. And now let's just do turkey here. Hopefully the recording doesn't, like, keep going. I just don't want it to keep going. And there's the empire itself. Alright, hopefully that works. See you guys in the next